Mr. Vogel, you currently owe $43,000 in child support for the defendant's son, who you say is not yours, and you claim to know who his father is.
That's right.
Once today's results prove that you are not his biological father, you say you will return to your home state to get this enormous debt erased.
Yes.
Ms. Vogel, you say the plaintiff is motivated by money and have always believed he is your son, William's father.
Yes,
After
Your Honor.
30 years, you are finally ready to prove the truth today. Is that
Yes,
correct?
Your Honor. Yes, Your
So,
Honor.
Mr. Vogel, who do you believe his father is?
My brother, David.
Oh,
She had sex with my brother in my car in a parking lot in Janesville, Wisconsin.
okay, wait a minute. Just take me back.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but there was no sex in the car. It was under a bridge. My son is a bridge baby. I don't know where he got that, but...
But you're admitting that you were intimate with his brother.
Yes, ma'am.
Just not in the car,
ma'am,
under
I
a
was.
bridge.
Yes, Your Honor, I was.
Let's get it right. So, what was the nature of your relationship with Mr. Vogel?
It was real rocky.
Okay.
Real rocky.
But you were married,
Yes, I was.
okay, to Mr. Vogel.
Yes.
William was born during your marriage,
Yes, Your Honor.
so you would be presumed to be the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So during the time in which Ms. Vogel is pregnant, do you believe William is your child during that time? Do you know about this sex with your brother?
I had a thought that it was somebody in my family, and I figured it was probably my brother. You start to think, and things are going wrong in the relationship, and my brother is doing certain things, and it's like, wait a minute, you two must be getting together or something. And that's when everything started clicking in my head, and I started putting dates together. He was born on November 17th. She had divorced me already, and I went down to Kentucky to talk to her for a little while. I stayed with her for like 3 or 4 days, and she told me the story of the car, and February 19th, I guess, just to get me mad and get me going, and that she had sex with my brother.
After 3 years, we got married.
Oh, so then you married his brother.
Yeah, 3 years after I divorced him.
How do you get to a point where you're going to sleep with your husband's brother?
Well, the bridge thing, he treated me better. He was good to me. And he just was that smooth that he just talked me right out of my britches. Literally. And
Can I interject for a moment? You'd have to actually get a better understanding of his brother, David. This man, he's got a sly tongue. He's got a snake's tongue. He could pretty much talk anybody into generally anything. So I wouldn't doubt what my mother is saying.
What are you thinking?
I haven't had a secure thought in years. About 2 years ago, my mom she came to me and she told me there's a possibility that David could be my father. And what she basically told me was that she had had sex with him under a bridge. Now, that's my understanding of it. It hasn't changed over the last 2 years.
Okay, who did you grow up believing was your biological father?
Well, I had grown to the age of 5, and my understanding that David was my father, and then all of a sudden my mother had kind of come to me when I was 5 and gave me a better understanding that my Uncle Daniel might have been my father. And then she basically told me that he was my father, so I had a lot of head trips at that point in time. Didn't really understand at that point.
I'm head tripping right now. But Mr. Vogel, Daniel here is the one paying child support for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, right.
it's all about the money anyway.
It's not about the money, it's about the children. I have this right here, which is proof that $43,000.
Let me see that evidence, please, Jerome. This is proof
And I've
of
been
the
paying-
amount of support you've been paying.
I've been paying in 2 states since 1990. They're taking my federal tax down in Kentucky. The state of Wisconsin's taking my state tax. I have no money. My 3 children, my wife raised with me in the house because I had no money. I couldn't give them Christmas presents. I couldn't give them birthday presents. I couldn't do nothing for my own children. And these are my children. These are pronounced to not be my children. It's not here
So
anyway.
over $43,000 owed
Yes.
on children you don't know are really your biological children.
Right,
William,
Your
you don't know. And truthfully, William grew up, he didn't even think at first you were his biological father.
Right, Your
But you
Honor.
were paying support even all that time.
Yes, Your Honor.
The legal lesson in this is that the court is going to consider the best interest of the child.
Right.
If the child was born during the marriage, you're presumed to be the father.
Yes, I know, Your Honor.
And most states give a window of time
Yeah.
to refute that, to bring proof.
Well, Your
evidence.
Honor,
I have
I've
tried
even
for
went
all these
in
years to refute
and
it, and I'm
expunged.
And I was just about to say, and some courts don't choose to acknowledge
They
or
don't
move
acknowledge
forward
nothing when you're
if
married.
they believe it's in the best interest of the child.
I have,
And now I have a young man standing in my courtroom, quite frankly, that says he hasn't had a secure thought in years.
No, he hasn't.
Because he doesn't have a firm foundation.
No, he
because
doesn't.
he doesn't know who his father is. It's like changing by the decade.
Yeah.
One decade he has one father.
Next,
The next
another.
decade, that father is his uncle, and then the uncle is the father. The next decade, then that uncle becomes his father, and the father becomes an uncle. This is too much. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. So once, William, you got word that potentially Mr. Vogel, Daniel, could be your biological father, how did the dynamic change then?
Well, at that point in time, I wanted to get to know my father. I wanted to get to know the man standing here before us. I actually took a little bit of time and actually had the opportunity to go and spend a little bit of time with him. He's a wonderful man. I didn't really get much time beyond that. Off and on throughout the years, I've had times here and there just kind of juggled between my mother and my supposed biological
I
father.
never got to see my kid.
And he got to see me once in a while. It wasn't very often. Majority of the time living with David, I had actually been moved around from state to state. We really didn't stay in one place for a very long period of time. So my understanding of it was David was my father because he was the one raising me. But Daniel was my biological father. And
So you're in a situation where your uncle could be your father, but your father could be your uncle.
yes, Your Honor.
Either way, your uncle is. Either way.
Either way, my uncle is my father.
Either way.
And I come from the state of Kentucky, so that sounds kind of weird, kind of offbeat. So I mean,
Really, William?
Mr. Vogel, sometimes you just have to laugh to keep from crying, people, okay?
I understand.
Sometimes you just have to laugh. Mr. Vogel, have you ever tried to figure out a timeline to piece this together?
I
Because the
have.
truth is, if she was still married to you when William was conceived, then that's why we're here, is because
I've got a
potentially you could be his biological father as well as your brother.
And I have beat myself up for many years trying to figure out the difference between this, the timeline, and everything else.
Okay,
I've worked on
let's
this
walk
timeline.
through
I've
this.
walked through the dates. I've done everything for
Walk
years.
through the dates with me. Walk through the dates with me.
She told me February 19th of 84. That was the story back then.
February 19th of 84 was what?
Was when her and my brother had sexual relations.
So February 19th.
wow,
Wow. Okay, so that's
that opened that can.
brother. Did you really have sex with his brother on his birthday, Ms. Vogel?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Whoa. When was William born?
November 17th.
17th.
So that's William born.
Well, Your Honor, what really made the difference is I was gone and I came home on the 27th of February when we were set to move down to Kentucky. We moved there on the 1st of March, and Donna was having her menstrual period, of which she did every time she had, well, which she did when she had my oldest son.
The bottom line is you're saying you were not intimate with her
Not until about the 7th of March,
until about the 7th of March.
when we got down to Kentucky.
So that's husband and wife time. What was going on around February 19th? You were gone?
I was gone, yes.
Oh, yeah, he was gone.
So the affair with the brother started when he was away.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So that February 19th is the bridge.
Well, Your Honor,
We'll just put a bridge. William, I understand your confusion, honey. This is a lot.
And the main purpose and reason why I'm here is for my children. I've got a 4-year-old, 2 3-year-olds, 18-month-old. I mean, what am I going to tell them?
I just need this taken care of. I
Well-
still have a warrant out for my arrest in Wisconsin. I could go to jail. I've been to jail for contempt of court twice, equaling 8 months, which is way over the limit of what I owe right now, even right there. At $50 a day, paying $120
And all
a
of
week.
this for failure to pay child support. All of this.
I clearly look like that man. I mean, I've got his body structure. I've
So,
got his
William,
attitude.
you
I've got-
believe you look like David Vogel, the brother.
Yes, Your Honor. I've done a lot of research over the years, and I've actually come to a point where I have understood a little bit more about genetics than what I really want to kind of delve into. But to my understanding, it doesn't matter whether or not it is David or Daniel. I could look like either one of them. I could look like my grandfather. I could look like my aunt. I mean,
We see that a
in
lot.
Genetics, I mean, I do look a lot like my mom, but I look more like David than anybody. So, I mean, that's where my questions lie. I wanna
Mom, Ms.
know.
Vogel, as you stand here in court today, has any of this testimony affected your belief? Because you've told him back and forth. Is it just because you've just always been confused?
Yes, Your Honor, it is. Because I just don't know.
Well, that's why we're here.
Daniel.
I thank you for that. That's okay. That's all forgiven, Donna. It's forgiven. Has been, you know that.
Now, that's the kind of stuff I'd like to see under the bridge, Jerome. That's what I want to see under the bridge. Thank you for that, Mr. Vogel. Because I don't think we can undervalue the power of just forgiveness. You know, it would have been easy, Ms. Vogel, to sit in this courtroom and sit in this seat and how could you and how this and how that. But I read the facts. And most importantly, I can see the sincerity of your regret.
I can see it too.
The sincerity of it.
Yes, she's very sincere about it.
Because what she got to see, and I often talk about this to young women in this courtroom, when you seek counsel under the covers, when you run and jump into bed with somebody else, people believe the quickest way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else, and that just isn't true. And when it happens, you create situations you don't intend that have consequences that you would never intend, and she sees the way it has affected her son. And the
With all my
confusion,
heart.
I can see that. And hurting him and having him experience that level of doubt and not have a firm foundation to stand on or a secure thought, as he put it, that is enough to make you understand your consequences and how they've affected others. So with that said, thank goodness this courtroom exists because we have the answers for you today.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm ready for the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. This has been very emotional. Ms. Vogel, you have been very emotional. Is there anything you'd like to say to your son, William?
I'm just sorry that it happened this way. I didn't know what else to tell him.
William, when you see your mother expressing this kind of regret, you've been through a lot. Is there something you'd like to say to your mom?
I'm going to love you either way it goes. You're my mom.
Here we go. In the case of Vogel versus Vogel, to determine whether Daniel Vogel or his brother David Vogel is the father of 31-year-old William Vogel. It has been determined by this court, Mr. Daniel Vogel, you are his father.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Finally, Brad.
Mr. Vogel,
Yeah.
you look shocked.
I'm more than shocked.
I saw it.
I have paid all my life for somebody I didn't know whether it was mine or not. Now I know I needed to pay, so that's water under the bridge. I know that he is mine. I'm glad I paid for him. I'm happy that he's mine.
Ms. Johnson, today there are 2 men who've been tested as possible fathers of your 4-month-old daughter, but you say you believe the defendant, Mr. Blackman, is her biological father.
That's right, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Blackman, you argue that Ms. Johnson had a sexual relationship with 2 other men, and you fear one of those men are the child's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so, Mr. Blackman, who are these other men?
There's 3 men that could possibly be her baby daddy. Of course,
3?
there's me, her ex-boyfriend before me, and this man sitting next to me who I consider a brother.
How did it come to be that you and the man you call a brother could possibly be the father of this child?
Since I was in high school, like, me and him have just been running buddies. You know, like, we like to live that lavish lifestyle. We're from Houston, Texas, and we really don't care about the women in Houston. My dad...
Please explain that. You don't care about any of the women in Houston. You would want to explain that.
My dad a Casanova, and he taught us 2 rules. One rule was nobody mess with anybody's girl, and that second rule was nobody has a girl. You understand? So
I get it.
We had so much fun back then that it might have cost me being the father of this child that's in question.
So, Ms. Johnson, tell me about your relationship with the defendant.
Your Honor, when I first met Mr. Blackman, I was already in a relationship. I was well taken care of. I was driving the high-end cars. I was going to the nicest restaurants. Me and my son had no need or want for anything. I jumped out of a relationship with my ex to be with him because there was an instant connection.
Okay.
And 2 weeks after I moved in with the defendant, I had sex with his brother. We had a threesome, so there's 3 possibilities. 3 possible fathers of my daughter.
See, she promiscuous, Your Honor. Look, she proven that she promiscuous. Did you hear what she said? 2 weeks after she moved in with me from being with an ex-man.
You are too.
Women not supposed to be like you. If you act like that, you get treated like that.
Men ain't supposed to be like you.
You get treated like that.
Men are supposed to be like you.
From where I sit, Mr. Blackman, it sounds like the pot calling the kettle black. You the one just said you're not supposed to have any regard for any girl. Now you meet a girl, you have a connection, you wind up letting your brother have sex with her, you all have a threesome. Are you now standing there suggesting to this court that you got your feelings hurt?
Honestly, yes, Your Honor. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, any other woman I've ever been with who, you know, really loved me, they wouldn't even accept being with my brother. But she had no problem with it, so it was like a test for me to go ahead and let her
but
go
she's
ahead.
still with me, though, and you had a baby with me. That we purposely did.
So hold on, Ms. Johnson, wait. Let me follow this story. So you're in a relationship with an older man.
Yes.
And then you all decide out with the old, in with the new, right?
We just had the instant connection.
So you had an instant connection. You all said, we're gonna be together.
Yes.
How do you end up in the bed with him and his brother?
It was his idea. He's saying, you know, this is how we keep our relationship fresh. You know, this is what they do.
Fresh? You had only been there 2 weeks.
To keep it from getting boring.
I'm serious.
Just to keep it from getting boring, Your Honor.
She didn't start there with me when I was there. They had to wait till I was going to work, Your Honor. I come home from work, my top lock on my door locked, and they both in the house by themselves. You know, I'm knocking on the door. Now, we had already discussed that if anything gonna happen, I'm present. I wasn't present the first time something went down.
Let me hear about this conversation. So you basically had given her permission to sleep with your brother as long as you were present.
Because in the past, me and my brother, Mr. Gross, have done that before. So it was
Was it
a
a
test to
test?
her, and she failed the test, honestly. I opened the door, and my brother, Mr. Gross, standing there butt naked.
It was your
What did
idea?
you do?
I mean, honestly, because I didn't want to look like a punk to my brother, you know, I guess it was peer pressure, I just joined
then
the
he
party
joined in, Your
because that's what we do.
And he joined in.
That's what we do.
But it was a test, though.
But she
It was a
did it,
test,
though. Like, okay, this is what
but
I'm
you
saying,
joined
though.
in.
Your feelings were really hurt. You didn't want
I
her
honestly
to fail
didn't want
the
it-
test.
Right. But then, Your Honor,
And
this was supposed to be like a
around
one-time.
the time that Viviana was conceived?
Yes.
So you say this threesome thing was supposed to be a one-time thing.
I'm thinking while I was at work, though, because after that following week, after that one time, my door kept being locked. I kept knocking on the door. So I'm thinking they've been doing it more than one time, Your Honor, honestly. They done done it way more
All right,
than once.
I want to hear from your witness. Mr. Gross, please stand. Now, you called Mr. Blackman brother.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
You had sex with the young woman he moved into his home. Did you feel like you had permission to do this from your brother?
Like he just told you, the way we was raised. Like my dad, you know, he's a Rolling Stone. You know, he call it fishing. You throw the bait in, if the fish catch it, if it's a good fish, you keep it. But if it's not a good fish, you throw it back. You know.
And then what if it gets fried, like the both of you? Miss Johnson, how many times were you intimate with Mr. Gross?
Twice, both with Vincent's permission.
Your Honor, that's
Twice.
And Mr. Gross,
Twice.
No, Your Honor, we
But with your
actually had
permission?
sex more than 10 times.
No, it wasn't. It was twice.
More-
more than 10 times,
was
you
twice.
said?
Bro, quit playing.
It was twice.
Did you say more than 10 times?
Yes, ma'am. Well,
Okay,
I'm
hold
not gonna
on.
lie to you, bro. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. You know,
No,
I
he's
made a
lying right
mistake.
now.
This
was
is new
twice.
to you. I can tell, Mr. Blackman.
You started this. It was you who did this? It was your idea.
So you had sex with my brother more than 10 times?
It was
or
twice.
She told me that it happened once. Now she telling me it happened
No,
twice.
I told
Now
you
he
it was
telling me it
twice.
happened 10 times. I don't know who to believe. So how am I gonna?
But
How am I
bro,
supposed to get married to her?
I'm not gonna lie to you like that. Come on, she
Mr.
did
Blackman, as much as I want to feel sorry for you because I can see you're hurting, you opened the door
was his
and
idea.
your brother ran right on in and locked the top lock behind him. Miss Johnson, so when you found out you were pregnant, who did you think the father was?
Well, my instant thought it was Vincent because we were actually trying to have a baby. I wasn't trying to have a baby with my ex.
Wait a minute. How are you trying to have a baby with a woman and giving her permission to sleep with your brother?
That was really just pillow talking on. You know, like that's how.
Okay, why don't
that's-
you use a condom then? Why don't you use a
just
condom
pillow
then?
talk, man.
So, Miss Johnson, you have a witness. Your mother, am I correct? Please stand, ma'am.
She gon' prove to you.
State
too.
your name for the court.
I'm Rebecca Johnson, and I'm Elsie's mother.
Were you aware your daughter was in a relationship with Mr. Blackman?
Not at first. She said that she find another roommate, and that's what I don't know. That is Mr.
So
Blackman.
she told you she had found a roommate.
Yes, ma'am.
Did she ever tell you about the relationship she had with his brother?
No, ma'am. But Elsie is a wild child, and I was so disgusted about her because when she is 15, she is sending a naked picture in the cell phone and having sex. So, as a Filipino, I don't approve that, and I'm not raised like that. So I sent her to Philippines so she could learn a lesson, our tradition. But she
Blah,
never.
blah, 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 blah.
Hold on now. Hold on.
See.
We
Tell
have
me she
established
lied.
that you don't have any respect for yourself, but you will respect your mother in this courtroom. At some point, you know that she's pregnant. Did she tell you at that time whether or not she knew who the father was?
No, ma'am. But I told her that I hope you will not be like other women that you don't know the father of your daughter.
So this was your fear. You said to her, I hope you're not in the position where you don't know who the father of your child is.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
what was her response to that?
I said, I do know who the father of my child is.
Like, the timing is all off. Like, at the end of the day, the doctor originally told her that her due date was sometime in March.
No, my original due date was in May. My original due date was May 29th, and we had got together in September, but they were going for my
Your
last
Honor,
period.
I got some evidence showing you.
I would like to see your evidence. Jerome, will you hand that to me, please?
When
What is this, sir?
That's basically a calendar, Your Honor, of possible conception date, showing that either way, it could be me, Lamarck's, her ex-boyfriends as well, because she didn't move in with me until like the 20th.
So let me review this. The dates outlined in yellow are the dates you and Ms. Johnson were intimate.
Right.
And then the dates outlined in green
Or
are the dates you believe she was intimate with Mr. Gross,
correct.
your brother. And when you, of course, look at the 15th, that's the date of the threesome.
Right.
Viviana's birth is on the 8th of June. So
Oh.
as you look at this calendar, who do you believe Viviana's father is?
I believe it's Mr. Blackman.
Your Honor, I believe it's not nan one of ours. I believe
That's not true.
If you have sex with 2 men, you had sex with 4. You have sex with 4, you had sex with
That's
8.
not true.
You had sex with 8, you had sex with 16. So I don't know who it is. I wouldn't
Like,
mind.
you hear from her own mama, she
I
say
wouldn't
she
mind.
wild, like, we... Man,
now-
I'm talking about the whole population in Houston probably could be the father of this baby. Like, it's no...
You know you're the pappy.
I got 2 other children from a previous relationship, and they look nothing like Viviana.
And my daughter
That's
look
because
nothing
I have
like
the
her.
dominant genes in our relationship. He had the dominant genes in that relationship, but I have the dominant genes in our relationship.
Do you all have a relationship?
Yes, Your Honor. We're engaged.
Y'all engaged?
We was engaged.
Is you
We was
serious?
engaged. We was engaged until I found out she had sex with my brother more than 10 times in this courtroom today, Your Honor.
That's why you asked me to
not
be your
true.
best man?
So
The
right
married
now,
hoes?
you just ended your engagement?
Man, nah, like,
Your brother is surprised, Mr. Blackman.
That's why you asked me to be your best man?
man.
He asked you to be his best man?
Yes, ma'am.
So you
I really
should've
thought
known
he
it
was
was
joking with me, you know, because we young. I'm 21, and
Why are you
married.
lying,
Come
Mark?
on, come on now.
What did you
Like,
lie
Are you
for?
serious?
What reason you have to lie
Man,
for?
come on, don't marry her, bro. Come on.
You know you
now,
gonna marry
bro.
me.
Do you all see this beautiful
She's
baby?
she's a beautiful queen. She's beautiful. I wouldn't mind her being mine, but at the same time, I won't want no hoe to be my baby mama.
Hold on now, we gotta use respectful language in the courtroom.
And I wouldn't want
I
him
was
to be
being
my
a
baby
fool.
daddy either.
So wait a minute,
apologize.
Mr. Blackman, what are your hopes? Are you hoping that this beautiful little girl is yours?
At the end of the day, Your Honor, I am. I always wanted a little girl. And honestly, I do truly love Elsie. I don't know what it is about her, you know, but I do love her. Like, I want to, you know, possibly move past a lot of stuff that we've been through. We built a rapport as she was pregnant. Like, I was there at the hospital when Viviana was born. I signed the birth certificate.
And I
Like,
have
I'm
the-
a good
I have it
father.
right
It's
here,
just
Your Honor.
that I want to make sure that this baby is mine before we move forward, or it helped me figure out what I need to do next in my life.
I don't know why he's denying my daughter, but he signed the birth certificate. Why would you?
Jerome,
why
will
would you
you
sign
hand
my
that
birth
to me,
certificate?
please?
He had sex with his brother. who
Why did he sign the birth
deny?
certificate then?
I was the only one there. Like, you had convinced me with your conniving ways that I possibly was the only choice.
Hold on. Before we go to the results, you know, I have to say, you all have come in here joking, but the jokes were based upon some very bad advice that someone gave you, that girls don't matter. Mr. Blackman, it backfired on you. You mad because they slept together more times than you gave permission for. It's just a mess. This whole macho nonsense about what you gonna do with girls and then wind up falling in love and then ruining it with your test that you told her you gonna do. She failed, and then guess what? You still love her. Now, Miss Johnson, before you think you off the hook, the way you're running around here, guy after guy, sleeping with men that are brothers, threesomes, this is no way for a beautiful young woman to behave. It's ridiculous. You done gone from an old man
to brothers, and you know that's nothing to be proud of. You understand that, right?
I know, Your Honor.
And walking into a courtroom and having to stand next to your mother, really basically admit you don't know who your child's father is. Not to mention the fact, even if the man was silly enough to give you permission to sleep with his brother one time, you took that inch and walked a mile. So some of this is your doing. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All of you all come in here talking silly about sex like it's an extracurricular activity that you all just figuring out how to do after school. It's not a game. And now this beautiful little girl is here, and you're her mother, and one of you may be her father. This is not sufficient for her because she deserves more. Now, I've heard enough. Let's go to the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Johnson versus Blackman, when it comes to the paternity of 3-month-old Viviana Blackman, and whether Mr. Blackman or Mr. Gross is the biological father, it has been determined that her father is Mr. Blackman.
I told you. I told you. I told you so. I told you.
Now listen, one thing I can say about you two young people, you all have had your fun and sown your oats, okay? I won't even get into what I've heard today and how disgusting most of it was. But now, it's time to grow up. And both of you, it's time for you all to go behind your door in your home and turn the top lock and lock him out. And work on building this family, if that's what you want to do together, but most importantly, figuring out how to raise this beautiful little girl together. Am I clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court is adjourned.
Ms. Williams, you've petitioned the court for a DNA test because you are certain Mr. Glover is your son Ricardo's biological father. Your son has a major operation coming up, and you say identifying his father must take place before the surgery. Is that correct?
Correct.
Mr. Glover, you claim you are not Ricardo's father and have proof that his biological father is your brother.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Williams, tell us why you had to open your case.
Your Honor, I haven't seen this man in years. My son has cerebral palsy. He's undergoing a surgery because now he has a magnetic rod in his back because he has scoliosis, so they're going to put the real rod, the real spinal rod in his back. I'm not his blood type. So if he need a blood transfusion, he need the absent parent. So they was asking, can I find the dad? I'm like, I know the dad. So I'm doing this blood test because he's the dad. If something happens, I have to fall back on his dad.
And I understand, and it's important to have your full medical history as well. And so identifying the father is important for that reason. I understand. You say you haven't seen Mr. Glover in years?
Yes, correct.
Mr. Glover, you haven't seen Ms. Williams in years?
No, Your Honor. From the beginning, I kind of had doubts that he was my son anyway, and I've been trying to get it situated. It ain't like I just ran off or anything, but...
How long has it been since you've seen Ricardo?
It's been about 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Since you've seen this beautiful little boy?
Yes, ma'am. This is not the first time that we went to a maternity court.
They got a maternity court now?
Well, it wasn't maternity court. It was for child support. And the first time we went, we did the DNA test, And like they was telling me that she had to come down there first. And then we went back a second time and a third time, and it never happened till, like, after that, I just moved to Texas.
You think she's been avoiding it because she knows you're not Ricardo's biological father?
I feel like she was avoiding it for some reason.
Once you felt like she was avoiding it, then that's why the 5 or 6 years passed, you left it alone because you felt like, I'm really not the father.
Yes, ma'am. I moved to a whole nother state. After the last time of us not doing the DNA test, I just went on about my business.
And so, am I correct in saying, if you truly thought you were Ricardo's father, believed, or that test had taken place as you planned, and it was determined you were the father, you would have been happy to be his father.
Yes.
You would have been there.
Yes, ma'am.
This man took my virginity. So I don't know how he feel. I don't care how he feel, but he took my virginity. This is his child. It's nobody else. I wouldn't be hauling his back. And the case closed because he never did the DNA test.
All right, let me get back to the relationship. I want to understand. Mr. Glover, Miss Williams says she was a virgin when she met you. Do you remember what was the nature of your relationship? Were you boyfriend and girlfriend? What were you dating?
We were dating for a minute. I want to say it lasted for about a year, but like it wasn't like we were just staying together or anything. Like we wasn't around each other all the time.
I was in school.
Both of us was young, and like we wasn't around each other all the time.
So you didn't feel like it was necessarily exclusive?
No.
So what makes you believe if she was a virgin when you met her that so quickly after meeting you she would be with other guys too? Did you hear something?
Because like initially that's what it was, and like besides that I heard something from my mother, and it was like after that it just kind of threw me for a loop.
I'd like to hear from your mother. Ma'am, please stand and step over to the podium. State your name for the court.
I'm Lily Daniel.
Ms. Daniels, your son, Mr. Glover, says he heard something from you in reference to Miss Williams that led him to believe that she was with other people. What do you know about this
Well,
situation?
first of all, I feel that there wasn't really a strong relationship with Ricardo and Miss Williams. But I did see her with someone in the neighborhood, and it appeared to me that her head was in his lap and she was giving him oral sex. And I did tell my son about that. And later on, after I had moved out of that neighborhood, the same individual brought Miss Williams over to my house, didn't drop her off at my house, dropped her off at a business a little bit up the street. The whole while I'm sitting on the porch with a friend and I'm watching her get out this individual's car and get the baby out of the car, get the car seat out of the trunk, put the baby in the car seat and walk down to my house. And I'm saying, why didn't you just have him drop you off right here? It's no problem. She said, I got off the bus.
Oh, so you're saying you saw her with this person before she was pregnant and then after she had the baby?
Yes.
Which led you to believe this was an ongoing relationship.
I feel like that wasn't the only relationship this young lady was involved in. You know, from day one, it was always other stories. And to be honest, Ricardo looks like my younger son. He looks more like my younger son than he does my older son.
So you believe Miss Williams also had sex with your younger son?
I believe Miss Williams was a busy young lady, and she's not the virgin that she claimed that she was. That's what I believe.
Mr. Glover, your mom has testified that she believes that Ricardo looks more like your younger brother.
Yes, ma'am.
You believe that as well?
Yes, ma'am. I thought it from the beginning, and
Where did you all get this knowledge that she was in a sexual relationship with your younger brother?
he had sent me some text messages saying that she had wrote him a letter saying that the baby was looking more and more like him every day. And after that, I have text messages from me.
You
and
have
my
some
brother.
evidence, Jerome?
Yes,
May I see
ma'am.
that evidence, please?
And pretty much he was just telling me that she had sent him a letter of a picture of the baby and everything, saying that it's starting to look more and more like him.
So this is a text exchange between Mr. Glover and his brother.
Yeah.
The message reads, Pinky wrote me the other day talking about the baby looking more and more like me. Bro, I told you that's your baby. You can be straight up with me.
Yes, ma'am.
I was like his older sister to all of them. I was like their sister.
No, you weren't their sister. Because you're not making babies with your sister. I'm trying to understand, you then in that moment said, you can be straight up with me because he was kind of acknowledging that he could be the father.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
your point was, you can tell me.
Yes, ma'am. Like I asked him from the beginning anyway, and like he denied it from the jump. Like his main thing was, nah, bro, I ain't never messed around with her, but I did see her stuff one time, but I ain't never do nothing with her. And I was like, man, come on, man.
He's saying he saw her naked, but nothing happened.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay, were you sleeping with Mr. Glover's brother?
No.
But you do admit you had a very close relationship.
I never gave oral sex to anyone else. I never even gave him oral sex. So what makes you think I'm gonna put my mouth on anyone else?
Like this stuff wasn't gonna come out.
I was a virgin. He knows I was a virgin.
all know that you were not.
You don't know nothing. You wasn't sleeping with me.
I know
you did
what
not
I
sleep
seen
with me.
with my own eyes.
Maybe you were.
And I'm
you're
not the
delusional.
only person that's seen you.
All right, hold on. So basically, Ms. Williams, you're saying that everything they're saying about you is a lie.
Yep.
He was the first person and the only person you had sex with.
Correct.
And that's why you know he is Ricardo's father.
Honestly.
You claim you never had an intimate relationship with Mr. Glover's brother.
No, but my baby looks like him.
Why?
Genes. Genetically, that's the both of them are your sons.
They don't even have the same father.
It does not matter.
They don't even have the same father.
They have the same mother.
They don't even have the same father.
I don't care. My baby look like
So
me too.
why?
Or however y'all want him to look. But guess what? The DNA is paramount. So
Ms. Williams has.
do you want to see this letter?
What is that letter?
From his brother.
Jerome, let me see that evidence, please. So this is a letter you received from Mr. Glover's brother.
Correct.
And you submitted this letter to the court to show.
Love always uncle.
Oh, he signed it uncle. All right. So you're saying this is him acknowledging I'm not the father.
Exactly.
I am the uncle.
Yes.
All right. Well, let me scan through this letter real quick and see what else he's talking about.
Please do.
Okay, hold on. Let me circle this part right here. It says, y'all have to come up. I really want to see y'all. Ricardo is getting big. And how old is he? He looked just like me.
That's his uncle. I mean, I had never slept with him.
My brother had never bought anything for any of my other
Guess
children.
what?
Like,
And I did so much for him.
Son, and like I don't see the reason why like he would just go and buy the baby 3 and 4 outfits.
Miss Williams, what are you hoping for?
That he be more active. That he come down to this hospital. My baby had this surgery. That we get this in, because I don't want no negativity around my child, because all he know is positive. He's happy. He's always happy. I'm just tired of going through this. It's simple.
You have a lot of weight to carry. I can see that is troubling you.
I mean, it's overwhelming, but I've been doing it for so long, and I've reached out plenty of times. Either you in or you out. It's not, he knows I was a virgin. He knows we wasn't using protection.
From the beginning, I asked for a DNA test.
That's a lie.
This is not the
That's
but I will say this.
I will say this. A nickname.
Somehow,
who gave a baby a nickname? Who let a baby come over their house if they have doubt? Not me.
First of all, I have been around this baby. I don't have a problem with that, but I would like to know for sure if this is his baby. I mean, what?
Well, of course.
And
if he is, what are your plans for this beautiful boy?
What
if he is?
If he is for me, I just apologize to her for even doubting it. Because like I said, from the beginning I had my doubts, and it ain't like I ain't have reason to.
Well, why
have
you didn't
doubt.
tell me?
I did.
You didn't. You never told me your brother.
We went to do
or
DNA
the other
test
guy.
multiple
Your
times.
brother.
We went to do DNA tests multiple
Your
times.
brother.
And another dude was
Never.
taking you to your doctor's appointment.
He never took me to
So
my
how was you
doctor
getting that?
appointment.
How was you getting that in?
What? You wasn't taking me?
I'm just saying.
What are you talking about? It don't matter how I was getting there. I was getting there.
So now Ricardo is here. He's got a surgery coming up. And what matters is we need to figure out who his biological father is.
Yes.
Him?
Yes.
I feel like you should have been figured out.
This has to be a lot on you.
It is.
Ricardo's had 5 surgeries. This will be his 6th. You know, the stakes are high here. How do you really feel?
I feel betrayed because, like, I should have slept with the brother. That's just how I feel. If you won't keep putting it on your brother, I should have. If he gonna be there,
Probably did.
I should have.
You probably did.
Who you slept with?
All right.
Yeah.
Well, the only way we're gonna figure out what the real truth is to get the results. Jerome, I'm ready for the envelope. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Williams versus Glover, when it comes to the child, Ricardo Williams, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Glover, you are the father.
That's all. What's up? What's up? Like, what's up?
That's your handsome boy.
Thank you. And I just want to say I'm sorry, but like it could have been handled. And like I said, I apologize though.
You need to apologize to him too. He'll understand it.
Is there anything you'd like to say to Mr. Glover? Are you okay?
I just wanted him to know this is his child, and I asked for help because I just needed this to be over. I was tired of going back and forth.
And will it mean something to you to have Mr. Glover and his mom, just to have the other part of Ricardo's village there to support you?
Yes, it'll mean something to him because he comprehends well. So it'll mean something to him because it's not easy taking care of him, but I do it. So, and I'm not talking about financially, I'm talking about his cries. It's hard, but I do it with the help of family, friends, my dad, my mom, so.